Welcome back to the Lead Anyway podcast, where we talk about what it really means to lead. Not someday, not when you get the title, but exactly where you are. Because the truth is, you're already leading. And when you recognize that, everything shifts and you stop waiting for permission and you start using your voice, your influence, and your everyday choices to create real impact. Today's conversation is one I'm excited about because it hits on something that affects us all: how we fuel ourselves, how we take care of our bodies, and how that connects to how we show up in our lives. I'm joined by my friend Lindsay, a registered dietitian and sports nutrition expert, and we go deep. We talk about her journey into dietetics, from athletics and personal health challenges to building a career helping others feel strong and more confident in their bodies. We get into what athletes, specifically young athletes, are getting wrong when it comes to nutrition, the pressure of comparison, and the real impact of underfueling. We break down simple, realistic ways to support performance without overcomplicating it or making it expensive. We also talk about the influence of social media in the wellness space and what's really going on and how to spot the difference. And maybe my favorite part, we unpack the emotional side of food guilt, food shame, and the stories so many carry from an early age. This episode is equal parts practical and real. It's about performance, yes, but it's also about identity, confidence, and redefining what success actually looks like in your body and your life. So, whether you're an athlete, a parent, a coach, or just someone trying to feel a little bit better in your own skin, this conversation is for you. Let's get into it. Hey, I'm joined by my friend Lindsay, a registered dietitian who is doing incredible work helping people fuel their bodies, show up stronger, and rethink their relationship with food and performance. And Lindsay, I'm so glad you're here. So let's get started.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Lauren. It's always a nice day when I get to chat with you. I feel I haven't seen you in so long.
I
This is
know,
also like us catching up.
I know. And the whole world, all 20 people will get to hear it.
No, we're gonna have lots of people tune into this.
We're really important. What we have to say is super important. But we put this on Instagram yesterday, and somebody wants to know about your career journey. So let's take us through your journey and how you became a registered dietitian and all the other alphabet things you have at the end of your name.
Sure. I'm Lindsay. I am a registered dietitian. I've been practicing for over a decade. It'll be my 11th year tomorrow. April
Wow.
15th was the official date of when I passed the
Congratulations.
board certification to be a registered dietitian. So it's always wild when I have to reflect back to that. So I guess there's different components of how I became a registered dietitian. And then I also, with my specialty in sports dietetics, and then really my approach as well as a
Yeah.
dietitian. I'll start, maybe ask some leading questions if it's not very clear as well, but I lead with, I always fell into to dietetics career. I went to UVM as a music major. In high school, I did jazz band. I loved music composition. I was very much into that. And then there was another part of my brain that was very much into weight training and powerlifting. I ended up getting into that due to multiple concussions playing contact sports, and my parents were like, you can no longer do that. When I was in high school, I had all these concussions, and fitness was always a really central part of my family, as well as food. My dad started taking me to the gym with him to get stronger. And that's really where my passion for training came in and getting stronger. And I'm really wanting all the girls out there, all the men, however you identify, to just really feel strong physically and mentally, because you know the impacts that it has on your body. So My dad and I would go to the gym. We do these lifts. It was a wonderful journey. And then we would finish our session and be like, what do we want to do for dinner? What's going to be like the best recovery? What's going to be satisfying? What is everybody in our family going to want to eat? So it became this fun little thing that eventually turned into a career path for me that I didn't realize until I was in college. I was doing Olympic weightlifting. I was training for marathons. And I realized that you can't eat the same way for both of those sports. Not only is the energy output different, but the timing is different. That was part of what made me switch to dietetics in college. And then the other piece of my story is that I do have a pretty rare autoimmune GI disease that kind of reared its head when I was in college. So I had an experience with providers that didn't really listen to my story, didn't really understand what was going on. Misunderstanding was a really big part of just my story growing up. So I knew that I had something to offer to people that also felt that way, and that this was a means for me to learn and apply to myself and to others. Pretty common story for people in the medical field. So flash forward, I've been a board certified sports dietitian for 3 years, but I have been practicing as a sports dietitian ever since I started my dietetic career 11 years tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I do have a background in GI and autoimmune health as well because of my interest in my story. But that's really the overview of how I landed on this specific career path for myself.
11 years is a significant time chunk. What is keeping you so interested in the work that you're doing?
There's a lot of different pieces to that. One, I love science. I love learning. I have my master's degree in nutritional biochemistry. I also have my master's degree in leadership as well. I don't know if you knew that,
I
Lauren.
didn't. I didn't. No.
Yeah, there's the education piece, and it's also the how can I be better and lead better and learn more so that the upcoming dietitians and health care professionals can also know how to lead and really help their clients and listen to their clients. So it's all of it. And I love talking to people. Everybody has such unique stories, and it's such a powerful breakthrough. I'm sure you know, because you deal with kids and families all the time, of really breaking it down for them and overcoming barriers. They feel so successful. You get them to be successful, and it just leaves this, oh, we did that together. I'm giving you the skills to do this.
Being a part of someone's story is like really incredible, especially when you can see them at the finish line, either an actual finish line or a proverbial finish line within their eating journey or their fueling journey.
Yes. And it's so interesting because each person is so unique. Like, I could have somebody that comes in and they're like, I just want to optimize for marathon nutrition. And that's it. And then I could have somebody with colitis, inflammatory bowel disease. I could have somebody with colitis, bulimia, and body dysmorphia. And then there's like all these layers, but behind that, those labels or those medical diagnoses, there's their story
Yeah.
that brings them power. So like dismantling that for them and working through them and empowering them with the counseling and the education. It's the counseling and the education.
Yeah.
I'm always, even now, even 11 years, I don't have everything figured out.
Yeah. You're like solving a puzzle and giving them agency back in their life because you're not just listening, you're providing really sound advice and a path forward. So I'm sure a lot of the work that you do is to continue the hope of one feeling better.
Yes. One
When
feeling about whatever their goals are.
when we're talking about athletes, what are athletes, especially younger high school ones, getting wrong when it comes to nutrition?
Oh, yeah. A lot. A lot. Actually, I hate to isolate in one, but
Yeah.
the really common thing that I see is in female athletes, if I could isolate it to female athletes, is they want to be hot, they're not eating,
Mhm.
or there's something else going on within their team or their environment. Right now, skinny's back. Did you see that on?
I have. It's really
Yes.
upsetting to me.
I know it's upsetting in various ways.
Yeah.
It's not equivalent to health. It's not equivalent to performance. So dismantling that, and I think it's also challenging because you are at that age where you're trying to discover yourself, you're trying to make long-lasting relationships and maybe emotional connections with other individuals as well. So you're trying to set a good example, and there's a lot of comparison that can come up and drive some of these behaviors. So I'd say undereating is like the biggest one. And then caffeine.
Yeah. I've heard of like nurses that are like girls and boys are coming in there thinking they're having like an anxiety attack. And they're like, how many cute little Alani cans have you had today? And they're like, three. And they're like, that's a shit ton of caffeine.
And Alani is so tasty. I don't fault anybody for
Yeah.
those. But I was looking at the other day, and don't quote me on this, I believe it's 80 or 100 milligrams of caffeine as the upper limit for adolescents, people under the age of 16. So an Alani has 200 milligrams of caffeine. So just kind of let them do the math and let that sink in. And that can often be tied with underfueling, or maybe people are just eating. I've seen people eating at the wrong times.
Sure. Yeah.
They don't like the school lunch, and then they come home and they're really hungry.
In fairness, have you seen some of the school lunches?
I know. I think I was very privileged. My school lunch, I went to a private school in New Hampshire that had excellent Proctor Academy. I'll give you a shout out. They had excellent food.
Yeah. I remember being hungry all the time in high school. Like the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed, I felt hungry all the time. I had $10 a week for school allowance. And so it was like we could hustle down to Subway real quick. I'd get a I can't remember. The veggie sub was super cheap at the time. I think that was my splurge. I think maybe it was like $5. Oh no, they had $5 footlongs back. Anyways, it was two. I would be astonished if the veggie sub was $2.50.
That would be
I
amazing.
know, but gas prices were also pretty low back then, and now I'm dating myself like hardcore. Do you want to talk about the 90s and nutrition and all the things I'm trying to unlearn right now? Because that would be really great, and we don't have enough time.
We totally could start with that. I think a lot of us are unlearning it. But you were saying, just to highlight that the school lunches are not good. And
Yeah.
if you have a budget, or if a kid is working a job, or if they don't have access to other foods, you can see how that would stack up. What's going to give me energy because I'm really tired before sport? But it's artificial energy. It's not actually giving your body calories to perform and have your muscles contract.
So if we were going to give like a student athlete a one quick, simple shift that they could possibly make, what would be something that you might say to them?
Oh my gosh, I can't narrow it down.
So they've done an 8-hour school day. They've been to school from 7:30 to 3. They're about to hit the field around 3:30 to
Everyone has
5:30.
And for your pre-snack, what you're looking for is something that is going to be a simple carbohydrate, like a piece of fruit, a piece of bread with
Mhm.
peanut butter on it. A packet of gummies will do. Something small that's going to elevate your blood sugar and get your body and your energy, your system. Replace your energy drink with that, and then see how you perform.
And that's really interesting because when we do talk about access and opportunity, like a piece of bread with peanut butter isn't going to set you back, right? Like I think like even with EBT cards and stuff like that, but the access to a loaf of bread and peanut butter is really low cost, but high feeling is what I hear you saying. We don't need fancy, expensive energy bars or protein bars. We need a piece of bread and peanut butter and then an apple.
Yeah, and honestly, in my experience, the higher like protein bars, they can, in some people, it depends.
Mhm.
Everything about sports nutrition, actually everything about nutrition is it depends. But Sometimes they add things like fiber to those bars, or they'll add a lot of dietary fat, which I'm not demonizing fat. It's just within the context of when an athlete is elevating their heart rate. We have to think about what slows down digestion, and fiber and dietary fat at certain dosages can.
Mhm.
And that can make your stomach feel heavy or crampy, or you can feel gassy. We want something really simple. And yeah, why not just choose? You don't even need sports gummies per se. You can just go get a Mott's gummy pack.
Mhm.
Get a giant Costco pack of Mott's gummies.
I've been eating the Trader Joe's gummies during pickleball. When my focus starts to wane a little bit, I'm like, just a quick bout of sugar, like in the middle, so I can conquer my pickleball enemies.
And do you notice? Does it?
Yeah, it does. It hits like pretty quick. And I'm like, oh, I'm no longer not focusing. I'm clear. I can sustain attention to the task at hand.
Yes, that's
And you
exactly how we want people to be
and you
feeling.
know that I am a chronic undereater, so you already know my profile of that. Puberty was a complete nightmare because I
Yeah.
shot up like 5 inches. I didn't look like everyone else. And I'm like, oh, I know what I want to do. I want to try to shrink. And so that's one of my biggest trouble spots when I look at high schoolers, ninth grade-ish girls
Yeah.
specifically, is give yourself time. The cost of comparison to other girls and their journey and their genetics, that's not your story. Give yourself time. It's all going to equal out. You're going to advance and grow as you need to. They're going to advance and grow as they need to. But if you compare, like if you and I were standing next to each other in ninth grade, we were going to look real different. And I think that's so hard.
That's such a good point, because that's probably driving some behaviors. Well, and like your body changes vastly throughout your pregnancy, throughout the rest of your life due to various factors. Some you have in control of, some you don't.
Yeah.
So it's all a practice of taking care of yourself and working with a professional, or trying to understand what is going to serve your body best and your mind best in that instance.
And that's such a great opportunity to say that many of the insurances that your parents cover or you have yourself are going to cover dietitian services throughout the state of Vermont.
Yes, I work for a private practice. I've been there for the last 6 years, called No Diet Dietitian. And that is something people don't realize, is that most insurance will cover dietetics. So if you're looking to get connected with somebody, or you have just questions that you want to get answered, Lauren, you can put my email and my contact information in the show notes, and I'll make
Yeah.
sure to get you connected, and we'll take care of you and really take you seriously and all of your goals and questions.
Yeah. And you have a really expansive team. I was trying to recommend you the other day to somebody, and I was just gobstopped at like how many registered dietitians are now under that company. There are so many.
I Hold on. I think that it grows every day. 79.
And that's showing the need of the number of people that are meeting with a dietitian weekly
Yes.
or
I
biweekly.
think a bi-weekly is pretty normal for us. And then as people get more regular down, or maybe they need less, then we spread them out. But the cool thing is that we all have different areas of genius, also
Mhm.
have different specialties within those areas of genius. So if I'm working with somebody and I take them as far as I can go, then I might refer them out to one of our other dietitians that has a very specific specialty. Like, we really pride ourselves in our practice in menopause and perimenopause
Mhm.
treatment. I have the education and the foundation to do that. I take people as far as I can go, and then I might recommend them out to a couple of my other colleagues. That's the bread and butter. Do the opposite if they had somebody with autoimmune or GI or sports, they
Yeah.
would do the same.
So I love to do a little walkthrough for people who might be interested in working with a dietitian. So could you walk me through like an intake of I'm going to meet with you as a ninth grade female student athlete and maybe what that first meeting might look or sound like?
Sure. So the first meeting is, we usually set aside 90 minutes to meet, which a lot of people are like surprised by. They think, 90 minutes? What am I going to talk about in 90 minutes with somebody? I had
What
enough.
aren't you going to
Yeah.
talk about in 90 minutes?
What aren't you going to talk about in 90 minutes? And that's really for us to get to know each other. My goal is to know somebody by the end of the session, or at least have a little understanding of what their world looks like, what their goals are, what their eating habits are, what their weight history is. Do they have any past medical health history themselves, or do they have any genetic predisposition to something? For example, if their family has a history of cardiovascular disease or diabetes, what are the symptoms that they're experiencing on a daily basis that is distressing, if anything, that is related to their goals that they have? I also ask about sleep and stressors throughout the day, because that can, as we were talking about with body dissatisfaction, that can certainly sway somebody's eating choices and how they take care of themselves. So I'm really trying to gauge the whole picture and ask a lot of open-ended questions so that this person can talk.
Yeah.
And by the end, I usually ask them, what would you like to get out of work and working with a dietitian? And then what would you like to get out of today's session? So I'll go through my assessment and then I'll try to circle back if there is something that they want to talk about. And I make sure to outline in that first session. We all do it, no diet
Yep.
outline. Here's the plan. You want to PR your run. The opportunities that I'm seeing right now is that you have low iron intake throughout the day. We need to optimize your carbohydrate timing before your games and practice. And I am a little bit concerned about the inconsistency of when you're eating lunch, so we have to problem solve that. I just outline it. Let's maybe plan to talk about this if you're okay next session and the session after, and then we come up with an appropriate when we want to meet and how often. Like I said, I usually like to do weekly or bi-weekly for the first couple of sessions for people, but it always depends on their goals. I'm never going to force somebody to meet with.
Yeah.
And I do also make sure to go over what a dietitian does.
Yeah.
People think that we write meal plans and that's it, which is a tool that we can use for
Yeah.
structure. Like one of my earlier clients today, I find that teenagers sometimes need to see it all out, and that can be really helpful for them, but it's not the only thing that we do. We want to give them the tools and explain the why so that ultimately down the road, they don't need us. They can be like, oh yeah, Lindsay talked to me about protein quality and quantity and timing. I remember this. I know how to build a meal now.
Yeah. And from my experience, it's very real. It's very easy. It's very optimized to be able to follow through on it. Nothing feels you're asking me to go run a marathon tomorrow. You're like, here's a couple things that we're going to work on this week. Let's get that in check first. And then let's keep building upon that success, because you and I both know that accountability is a key factor in doing this work, and having it obtainable goals is also a critical piece of working with a dietitian.
Yes. And when you're thinking about your mission of building confidence in girls, like what's a better way to build confidence than small, manageable goals we're co-creating them. I'm not telling you what to do. We're doing it
Right.
together. Unless somebody comes in and tell me what to do. But I'm still going to try to get their buy-in so that they
Right.
can help me help them.
It was Coachella last weekend and this upcoming weekend, so the influencers are going crazy right now, and I want to pick your brain a little bit about social media influencers in the nutrition and wellness area, and what's your take on it?
The only thing when we were talking about Coachella, I have not really been on top of everything in Coachella, but I have loved watching all the, is it so old? Is it GIFs? Reels? Reels? There we go.
Reels?
Reels. I create reels. I know this lingo.
Yeah.
Reels of Justin Bieber, like on YouTube searching things. It's so funny.
But what is credible on some of the social media accounts around wellness and nutrition, and what's just noise? Like, what are some red flags that we could look for when people are trying to give us nutrition advice on the internet?
Yeah, it's really hard to navigate. Look at people's credentials. If you go to their webpage and they're don't have any background in nutrition, they're not a registered dietitian, I wouldn't recommend taking nutrition advice from them. I think the challenge is that most dietitians have really bad PR. Some of them are great. There's a couple of accounts that maybe I can pull up and I can type to you as well that are great, but they don't have the best PR, so that can be hard for people to get out there and get appropriate information. But first, check the account. If it's just Liv so and so, that's a gymnast from Colorado and is selling collagen and water fasting, you're not going to get your information, credible information from her. It might, whatever she's doing might be working for her. Also, you might look at, is this person getting any benefit from selling specific supplements?
Is it a sponsored
Yes.
post, or does it feel sponsored and manufactured, geared towards one product? That's my giveaway, is when it all is based on, if you buy this product, then you'll have these results.
Correct. Quick fixes is a big one.
Yeah.
If you do this, then everything is going to be solved. A huge red flag in things. It's also the uncertainty that people don't. That is the only thing that is certain in medicine, is the uncertainty. We have guidelines, like when we're looking at labs, we're looking at recommendation for nutrition guidelines, but really we have to see how it works for you mentally and physically in your body to make sure that we're certain. And people don't like.
They don't. It's not sexy. It doesn't sell. It doesn't get you likes and clicks on the internet. Another red flag, I think, is burns belly fat.
Oh, yeah. Burns belly fat is a really big one.
Because you can't just burn belly fat. You would reduce fat overall if that was a goal, not just in one area.
Any spot training. Crunches are not going to get you six-pack abs or lose belly fat.
Yeah.
Necessarily. But yeah, anything that's making a promise like that, they're just really targeting your pain point.
I was at Costco today, and the infatuation with protein right now is mind-boggling to me. What is the deal with maximizing protein in literally everything?
I don't know. I do know. I think this is a nutrition trend, like everything.
Yeah.
We've had it with many collagen. Creatine's another supplement that's trending right now.
Yeah.
But protein, I'm not against it. It's just like, it's not a one-size-fits-all thing, depending on somebody's goals. If I'm working with an athlete, I actually often do start with optimizing protein because it has the biggest buy-in for people. They're like, protein, muscle mass. But if you're only eating protein and you're not having a balanced plate with produce that offers color is important because it has antioxidants, and antioxidants is just a fancy way to say reduces inflammation. So you're thinking about muscle strain and training. You want to reduce inflammation. So fruit and vegetables are important, and color is important in that aspect. And they also offer potassium, and some offer magnesium too, which is an electrolyte that's lost in your sweat at a much smaller rate than sodium, but still. And then outside of that, carbohydrates are a really important part of the athlete's plate because oftentimes that is the main driver for our body's fuel source. Our brain relies on that exclusively for energy. And as we were talking earlier, talking about pre-workout snacks is like that quick snippet. What's one thing somebody can take away? It's going to provide energy the fastest to the working muscles. So the answer is it's important, but it's not everything. And you could be missing vitamins and minerals. Carbohydrates also provide B vitamins, which is important for mental status and methylation. So like the way that our DNA is transcribed and our cells regenerate. So you can't be getting that all from protein, although protein is a good source of B vitamins, I should say as well.
Yeah. What's one thing that when you're seeing, in the world of media that you're like, could you just stop? If we could just stop one thing, what would it be right now?
I've been so removed from social media lately.
Is there anything that you're hearing from your patients?
Seed oils. Seed oils drives me insane. There's this one guy on social media that walks around the grocery store. Seed oils is not inherently bad. Like, you're getting polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats, which are just types of fats that are beneficial for cardiovascular health. I think what they're trying to say is be thoughtful about your processed foods. I'm saying this in air quotes for people
Right.
that are listening, because they're just demonizing things. Processed foods is not also inherently bad. It all serves a place. And then that comes back to the conversation about accessibility.
Yeah.
And also, if somebody likes something, all foods fit here. All
So Vermont does have food deserts. We have places that it is difficult to obtain fresh produce or things within our budgets. And the Dollar General might be one of those places that we are able to afford. But number two, get to. What would be a short list, 3 or 4 things from the Dollar General or a store like that, that maybe you would say would be a great thing to have either in your snack drawer or something you carry with you when you go to school?
Oh, I have not. This is embarrassing for me. I don't think I've been in a Dollar General in years.
Yeah.
Something that I would probably do is I would go to the grocery store and like, but if I had to choose based off of snacks, what's going to give you a big bang for your buck?
Mhm.
I would probably see, is there a trail mix
Mhm.
option? Because it's energy dense, it's high calories, you're getting some dried fruit and potassium in there, and protein and some nuts as well, from vitamin E. That would give you a good bang in terms of things for a snack. So I think I'd look at that. And then I always love people to choose something that they enjoy as one of their snacks. So I'm
Mhm.
like, get whatever you want. Nothing's off limits. If you want to get a bag of tortilla chips, if you want to go get, I don't know, a box of your favorite cereal, that's going to be on the list too, because we can make that part of a sustaining energy balancing snack throughout the day.
When do you like having been through different programs and some that have caused some disordered eating in my life? What are some like when you're working with a client, when do you start worrying about disordered eating versus following a plan?
Anytime they bring it up, anytime they bring it up. I had a client yesterday that was like, I'm going on vacation next week and I'm feeling a lot of shame around eating out. But I don't want to talk about that. I'd love to talk about supplements today. But we literally spent the first 30 minutes of them talking about their shame. I was like, we can talk about supplements any other time. Let's focus on this. What is happening in your head when you are eating X food?
Yeah.
Can we reframe that? I flagged that in my head as food guilt and food shame.
Hmm.
And that's something that I want to explore more and dismantle for them.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, my food guilt and food shame is ice cream. I have no idea why. I don't know where it comes from. I rarely eat it. But when I do, I'm like, oh, this brings me back to being in middle school. And someone somewhere, sometime must have said, you probably shouldn't eat that. And now with creamy stands opening up around the state soon, I'm just like, cool, let's unpack that.
it's a good point to bring up because everybody has those stories.
Something.
I have only met with, I can only think of one person off the top of my head right now that I've met with that had zero food guilt, zero food shame, just wanted information. So when I say that everybody does, I mean everybody does.
Wow.
And those things are stemming from very specific instances, maybe unhealed wounds from your past. It's funny because I was watching an Instagram reel talking about therapy, but it's also very prevalent to nutrition therapy
Mhm.
when people are afraid to come in and talk about these things because they think that we're going to be like, you suck. But
Yeah.
in reality, it's really you be like, I suck. And then we just put everything up on the screen of your food and guilt timeline. And you're like, oh, I'm this way because of this. And they're like, what do I do? And you're like, you keep coming back. It's just, you keep coming back. You can
Yeah.
rewrite that story because everything is neurologically connected in your brain. And we're working on making those reconnections happen for you. But ice cream's a big one for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's probably just so dense that it's delicious. Should we feel
I
guilty about all things that taste good?
no.
I'm teasing.
So here's the other thing of if I have somebody that's coming in and they're falling within this restriction guilt cycle.
Mhm.
Very common. You can have food guilt that exists, and you can still choose to eat the ice cream or whatever it is and still experience guilt, but practice opposite actions and being kind to yourself. Food guilt, we want to improve it over time, but it's a very slow, you're not going to just all of a sudden be like, this is a dramatic example, but so and so died in my family. It takes time to accept, it takes time to challenge. You go back.
Right.
And so there's that. And then there's also the cycle of the binge restrict where you can't have that. That's bad for me. I
Yeah.
shouldn't do that because of X, Y, and Z. I really want that. I'm going to hide and eat that, or I'm going to eat a large amount or just eat it very quickly. Now I
Mhm.
feel guilty and now I'm restricting again and I'm not having that, or I'm going to diet starts Monday mentality. And then it feeds into this cycle of just constantly feeling crappy.
Yeah, I agree. Sunday night used to be the worst night of the week for many years because it was like, way to go, Lauren, you screwed up again and you had half a bottle of wine over the weekend, or you went out for dinner and whatnot. It's diet starts Monday. Like, how many women are telling themselves after a weekend of enjoyment that
Mhm.
diet starts Monday, and then you just plan it out and like you're good through like Wednesday, and then the wheels fall off because you're so you're eating like celery and water.
A lot,
Yeah.
especially for working individuals that are very organized, have everything together during the week and just need a break over the
Yeah.
weekend. But then they're looking for that quick fix, that serotonin boost. They're also not really
Mhm.
identifying maybe what's happening. So bringing light to, you just want a release on the weekends. So there's two different things, like what can we do to get you what you need on the
Yeah.
weekend, and how do we reduce the food shame and guilt, and really put together, marry the two to see what's going to serve you in the long run. But man, I have a similar story too. When I was in college, I was on the rowing team and I remember being so hungry. I would come home and after that, I eat an entire Ben and Jerry's, an entire bag of cashews. Like, I knew nothing about nutrition.
Yeah.
Felt so crappy. Also had the ice cream guilt as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw something the other day, and I'm not recommending smoking by any means, but this woman was like, what is smoking really? It's an opportunity for you to go outside. Let's say you're in a social dynamic, and I'm stealing somebody else's words here. You're in a social dynamic. You need a moment to yourself to regroup. You're doing basically box breathing while you're smoking, right? So it's not
Mhm.
necessarily even that you're smoking, you're getting all of these other benefits because you're smoking. A quiet
Right.
environment, an opportunity to think, an opportunity to regroup, deep breaths, exhalations. I think it has to go along with the unmet need that you're seeking through food. And I've recently realized that alcohol was like that for me. At the end of the day, I just wanted a little glass of wine because that signified my day was done. I'm like, you gotta break that cycle, girlfriend.
Yes. The alcohol is one that I see often. Smoking and parents at the end of the day when they're like, now I get to unwind. My kids are going to
Mhm.
have my snacks, or this is my time for myself. Which, if it's serving you, great.
It's
We
not
have to look
hurting
at
anyone.
it. Might be. I
Yeah.
I say that because everybody has a different story. You need to be certain.
Yeah.
If it doesn't bother you, if there isn't any health implications, like, you don't necessarily need to change it.
Right.
And it depends on the context of the entire day and what else is going on.
Yeah.
But usually people are coming to me because they're looking for answers or they're having to stress about something.
Yeah, and just in my journey, like, it was just a tiny amount, like I said, but my skin was freaking out. I wasn't sleeping well. And then the week and a half into like just eliminating that tiny little bit, sleeping better, skin
Yeah.
looks better. Well, there was one other effect that I felt the other, oh, you stop thinking about it.
Mhm.
Like the number of days that I banked up of just not drinking because it wasn't important to me, the less I started thinking about it, the further away I
Yeah.
was from it.
Because
Because
you're farther in the behavior change at that
exactly. Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Well, were there ever any instances where relapse happened and it was really hard for you to get back to that? Because that is
Oh,
common too.
girl, that is my journey in life of all or nothing behavior. Like I did when I was like early mid 20s, I did Nutrisystem and had a ton of success because how could you not? They'd send you tiny little portions in the mail and then you're good. But if you go to eat on the weekend, you blow it all and you lose no weight. All or nothing in that mentality of making significant changes is something I definitely have dealt with my whole life until I read Atomic Habits
Yes.
and really thought about the systems that get you to the goal is actually the change that you want to make, not the number on the scale, the time that you have in the race. It is the systems in place that changes the outcomes. And so the outcome became less important to me as I've grown older and
Yeah.
have been able to, okay, so you had a beer with a friend, no big deal, and not to feel absolutely gutted because of that.
Yes. I love that you brought up the outcome versus behavior change.
Yeah.
That is a conversation that we have to have a lot in nutrition and clarify with people, like, especially with my older, also sometimes with the kids, mostly the kids, it's an education gap and they're very resilient. It's my older people that are like, but I didn't lose 5 pounds this week. We're habit stacking. I want
Yeah.
to get you to where you're going, but there's all this other stuff to your story that's
You're in a high stress job and you eat perfectly. Okay. There's just so many factors to the outcome. Yeah. Do you have a go-to meal that you could eat every day for an extended period of time?
we were in a meeting yesterday and people asked me if you were a food, what would you be and why? And I chose not one food, I chose meal. This actually goes with my personality because I always like to do a bunch of different things. I chose a poke bowl.
Oh, for
And
sure.
we I guess I could eat a cooked poke bowl,
Sure.
but my preference would always be raw. I just
Yeah.
love a salmon poke, but it's the saltiness, it's the toppings, it's the ease of putting it together.
Hmm.
I also sweat a lot, so I love the sodium of the
Hmm.
soy sauce dressings. That my last meal, last supper sort of situation is
Hmm.
really easy to prep as well. So go-to meal.
I'll have to get that recipe. Mine right now is the frozen edamame at Costco.
Oh, the pods?
Yeah. I
Yes.
could steam it and then I toss in a little olive oil and garlic and then do it in a pan and finish in a pan. And at night, there's just something about that combination of the salt, the warmth, the garlic. I feel like I'm having like a 5-star meal. I could every day I could eat it.
Right now, thinking about
I was telling my coworker the other day, I'm like, digestion starts in the brain. And he goes, I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah, you know how like you say, hey, are you hungry? And they're like, no, I'm good. But then 5 minutes later, I'm starving. It's because I preheated your oven by asking you if you were hungry. I'm like, yeah, that's why you're not supposed to eat at your desk because you're putting all that food into your tank that's not ready for it.
right, putting yourself in a situation where you can optimize digestion away from stressors and really focus on that, which isn't always reasonable for people, but we try,
Agreed. Agreed. Do you have any other go-to? I could eat this every day.
Right now, my current hyperfixation meal is a breakfast sandwich.
Which consists of what does your breakfast sandwich look like?
My breakfast sandwich is sourdough. I've been making my sourdough kick like every other millennial right now.
Yeah.
So sourdough, avocado, nutritional yeast, truffle salt, egg, ham or Canadian bacon, and banana peppers. So it is a very true weird combination pregnancy craving.
Hitting all parts of your tongue.
Yes, it has to hit all parts of the tongue, but it's like a staple. I feel like if I don't have that during the day, something is missing.
My other one is cottage cheese and pineapple
Oh, that one's great. That's like a salty, sweet, savory thing. Yeah.
with a little tagine on it. Tahine, a little tahine on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so for it. Okay, I got a couple of this or that's.
Okay.
Quinoa or couscous?
Is this my personal preference?
Yeah.
Oh, I love quinoa from
I
a
know you
flavor
do.
standpoint. You don't like quinoa, is that right?
No, I'm fine with quinoa.
I love quinoa from a flavor standpoint and texture because I recently found out with any grain you could do it with couscous too, but I'm very into crispy quinoa right now.
Ooh,
On
okay.
salads, on bowls, just add more texture. I love the texture of quinoa. It's like kind of crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside. Some people don't love that.
Yeah.
Has about, I think, 7 grams of protein per cup. I know everyone's obsessed with protein, and it has 3 grams of fiber, so it might be five. Three to
I'm
five. Let's say that.
fascinated with your brain right now. It's like you're doing like a metric scan as you stare at like the nutritional labels of many items.
I know that's like actually for so long, but I think my brain usually goes to what tastes good first. And then I'm just like trained as a dietitian then to be like, why?
Hmm.
But this or that. Okay, quinoa, crispy
Okay.
quinoa.
Gels or candy for in workout feeling?
I like candy, but it depends on their gut. There's certain
Yeah.
gels that are better osmolality wise if you're having GI distress, but I like candy.
Ski erg or assault bike?
Neither. I like the assault bike, which is a weird thing to say. But I prefer right now pregnant the ski erg.
Sure.
Yeah.
TV or scrolling?
TV shows that I'm enjoying right now.
Yes.
Actually, that's not true. I've been really into Survivor season 50. I'm disappointed with Euphoria so far, but I'm hoping that it'll pick up.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I never got into it. Are you watching The Pit?
That is on the list as well. That's on
Yeah,
the
it
list.
better be. I'm with you though. Like I have a hard time watching TV. I have comfort shows to rewatch early seasons of Real Housewives. And like Casey, my husband will know it's like really bad if I'm like on season 2 of like Real Housewives of Orange County. He's what happened. I'm like, nothing. This just
So fun. I've been
sudden.
into Love Island. I'm like, that is my toxic. I'm like Love Island. So I guess it is TV.
Okay.
I just don't know that I'd sit down and watch a lot of TV.
No, that's true. I was really anxious on Sunday for some reason, and I put on Real Housewives of New York, like season 9, and I was like instantly calmed down. And they're just bickering at each other. And Casey's like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "My nervous system needs this."
You know, it makes you feel better about yourself. You're like, oh, these are some real problems.
Yeah, I know the answer to this one, but morning workout or evening workout?
Morning. I've been doing morning workouts since I've been 13.
Sweet or savory?
Depends on the mood, but I guess I would go towards savory. I love something salty.
Do you have a power song? I just need to get my life together. This is the song that does it every time.
Hershey. That's a song I'm like driving in my car with my dog, and I'm like, this is it, Brisa. My Boston Terrier, Brisa. And she's just like sitting there, and we're just bobbing our heads. Just slaps every time. I don't know.
My last question for you is what does lead anyway mean to you?
Oh, lead anyway is you're a leader, whether you're in a leadership role. People are looking up to you, and your failure might be somebody's success. I think there's always eyes on you. You're somebody's role model. Leading anyway when you're having a really hard time, it's good for you to be kind to your inner child.
For the younger you would look at you and think you were cool. So I love thinking like you're healing parts of yourself as you're leading others.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Even when it's hard to show up, you still do it anyway, and it is healing you.
I had another question that was going to segue. Just the idea of redefining success, I think, is something that's under discussed. That we talked a lot about social media, we talk about a comparison, that other people's successes might be theirs. But I, growing up, we had a car that would quit every time we got off the highway and would have to restart it. And I just remember being really anxious about the car not starting and how that made me feel. And it's something I haven't had to worry about for my entire adulthood, that my cars just ran. And I just think it's so interesting. And when you do your work and you look at success, and outcomes that happen in your work. You're changing people's lives because you're changing their relationship with food in a really meaningful and therapeutic way. The work of a dietitian and everyone in the nutritional field that's doing it well and creating relationships with their clients are really doing work that modern medicine isn't getting into when you're going in for checkups.
Correct. Everything serves a purpose for sure. I think we get the luxury of time where we're saying that 90-minute initial. Not every other provider gets the luxury of time, and that's just the medical field for you.
This was so good. And thank you for bringing your realness and your expertise today.
Thanks for having me. I loved this. It was so good to catch up with you. Laura and I also got to catch up because we haven't seen each other in so long. So
Exactly, because I stopped going to the gym in the morning.
you have your own stuff going
I got
on.
my own jams. Yeah. So just remember, you don't need a title to lead. You're already doing it. And the question is, how are you going to show up today?